Welcome to Pastor J Ministries First Talk Live. I'm Pastor J, and I want to just welcome all of you who are tuning in or who will be tuning in on this Memorial Day weekend. I also want to just give a huge shout out to One Shot Creations for, as many of you probably noticed, that the background is different. We've moved to a different location. We're in a studio now. And so I really want to just, again, thank One Shot Creations and Cody Robinson for the effort and the work they put into really bringing you a quality production. And if you're watching and you ever need some videography, I would really encourage you to give this crew a shout and look them up, give them a call, use them for whatever services that they can provide for you in videography and production. This is Memorial Day, and as we are approaching this holiday and all, there's some things I want to share with you. But I really want to also just share with you guys what Pastor J Ministries is about, real quick, because I know that everybody's out there bringing messages and bringing content to really encourage their viewers, as we are here at Pastor J Ministries. But really, the heart that I have as a pastor for those that connect with me and that God brings into my life, whether it's in person or through the channels such as social media, is to equip you with messages, with content that is meant to inspire you, motivate you, to take what God has put into you and has purpose to build with and from your life. You can build a house, but you can't just do so with your hands. You got to have the right tools in your hand to build. So what we want to do is, and what we look to do, is provide you with the right tools so that you can build what God's purposed you to build in and through your life. And so today, the message that we're bringing to you, and it is Memorial Day. Today is the day that we take time and we set time aside to remember those in our nation who've given the ultimate sacrifice for the liberties and the freedoms that we all benefit and enjoy. Those men and women who gave their life for such a benefit as liberty and freedom. And it's also a good time to maybe step back and also do inventory of how you and I are living our lives sacrificially. Every one of us, whether you are a first responder, frontline person, being law enforcement or firefighter or any other service such as that, or military, all of us can live a sacrificial life. In fact, as believers, as Christians, we are called upon to live a sacrificial life. But then you have to kind of pause and ask, well, how can I live a sacrificial life? What does that mean, and what does that even look like? Well, there's a few scripture I want to bring to the table this morning, and one is, and probably a familiar passage of scripture, is found in John 15:13. Jesus said this. He said, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend." So greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for one's friend. That's sacrifice. In fact, Paul, he further explains it this way in Ephesians 5:2. He says, "And walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." So again, let's take a moment and let's just kind of unpack what it is to live a sacrificial life. Well, nothing of great value comes without sacrifice. I want to say that again. Nothing without value comes without sacrifice. If nothing has great value, then we are willing to sacrifice what it is that we see and recognize as having great value. In fact, the value of something is determined by the sacrifice one is willing to make. So, and let's just take, this is why we've got to understand that we possess great value to the heart of God, because he was willing to give his only begotten son, the life of his only begotten son. Jesus was willing to lay down his life because he recognized the value in who we are, who God created us to be. And that value was established by the price of the life that Jesus gave for you and me. And so now we've got to stop and ask the question of ourselves, what in our life possesses that kind of value? There is nothing more attractive, and this is something very important for you and I to understand. There is nothing more attractive to God than the sacrifices one makes for the well-being and welfare of another. What sacrifices do you make? What sacrifices do I make for the well-being and the welfare of another? When we are willing to make sacrifices for others, when we are willing to deny ourselves of things because we see the value of someone else as being greater than ourselves, that is attractive to God. This is why we are even encouraged, going back to what Paul said. He said, and walk in the way of love just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. No one can make a sacrifice. No one can make a sacrifice unless they find greater value in someone or something beyond their own life. You know, as a parent, we may understand this greater than anyone, because we see the life. We're willing to give our life. We're willing to sacrifice our life for that of our children. We see greater value in their life than we do even our own. If there was a point where it was our child's life or our life, which life would we give? Most parents, because of the love they have for their children, would quickly and gladly give up their life for that of their children. Why? Because they see the value in their children as being greater than that of their own life. We have to be willing to accept that what cost us will simply be a benefit to someone else. That is sacrifice. When we are willing to sacrifice something of ourselves, when we're willing to deny ourselves of something, that's sacrifice. And it simply provides the benefit of those that we're sacrificing for. They walk in the benefit of our sacrifice. Look, we've got to understand, I as a pastor and as a leader, there are times I have to be willing to deny myself of things that I would like to have. Why? Because it's to the benefit of those that I've been called to serve. Why do I do that? Because the pay is well? Not at all. The reason for it is because of the value I see in the lives that God has entrusted to me. Do you see and recognize that value in those that God has entrusted to you? You know, that's the hallmark. That is what sets and should set us apart as believers in Jesus Christ, as disciples of Jesus Christ, from anybody else, that we recognize the value in others as being greater than even our own life. So the life that we live is one that is sacrificial, that our life is a life that is providing the benefit that others need. That's sacrifice. And you know, it does come at a cost. It may cost, and I know, you know, when we talk about this, we think, well, you know, I'm not in the military. How can I lay my life down if I'm not out on a battlefield? Or no, you stop just one second and let's just really take a look at this, because you may sacrifice your time. You may sacrifice your resources. You may deny yourself of something that you want because there is someone in need and you see a greater value in who they are and the need they have than maybe the new car that you wanted to buy or the new TV that you wanted to buy. Maybe you sacrificing your time. Maybe there's something that you wanted to go do, or maybe there was something that you wanted to watch on TV, but someone was giving you a call that was in need of your time, but you wanted to spend that time doing something else. Now you're sacrificing the time that you wanted to do something for yourself to serve someone else. That's sacrifice. How do you and I live a sacrificial life? And as we spend this day, many of us around family and friends, on the beach, on the boat if you live here along the Emerald Coast, or around the grill, which is what I'm going to be doing today. When we're spending this time celebrating, let's also spend this time doing inventory of ourselves, of our own life, as we remember those that gave their life so that we can have this day and that we can celebrate the way that we do. It came at a cost. It came at the cost of another's life. When we remember them and we celebrate them, let's also do inventory of our own lives. And let's really take a look and ask the question, how do I live my life sacrificially? If God's called me to live a life of sacrifice, how can I do that? Look for it. Be cognizant, be aware of who God's bringing into your life, and recognize them as having the value that He's put on them, just as you recognize the value He's put on you. Jesus died for you, and He died for them. Now that we've accepted who Jesus is and what He's done, it's our duty and responsibility as believers and disciples of Jesus Christ to display that, to demonstrate that to the lives of those that God brings to us. And this is where we want to encourage you this morning. In this message, in First Talk Live, it's all about sacrifice. When we learn to sacrifice the way that Christ has called us to sacrifice, then no one can ever say that our love is not real. The world is full of people who say, I love you, but their love is an empty word because there's no demonstration, no evidence of that beyond themselves. But we're called to love beyond our own life, to demonstrate to those lives around us that they have the value that God has placed upon them by sending His own Son, Jesus Christ, to die, so that we all might live and live free of sin. This is Pastor Jay, First Talk Live. I want to thank all of you who've tuned in this morning. Let me just encourage you, if you would, to help us and show your support by sharing this message with those that you know. That's always a huge help to us. Also, if you would like to support Pastor Jay Ministries, there's ways that you can do so. Of course, that's placed in the description of our First Talk Live. And I want to just thank all of you who have been so kind and generous in your support. Of course, because of what you do and what you've sown and what you've given into this ministry, we're able to do what we're doing and continue to do it. And there's many things that we're working on, projects that will be forthcoming that will benefit you, your family, those that you know, not just in a local area. The reach that we have and that we have a vision for reaches far beyond just a region. It reaches to this nation and also other nations in the world. And those will be things that we share more in the coming weeks and months ahead. So stay tuned. I hope that you'll be tuning in again this Wednesday morning as we bring to you our First Talk Live this Wednesday. Y'all have a great Memorial Day. Enjoy it. Be safe. And we will see you Wednesday.